All right, here's a quick tutorial on your Paint Pot project part 2. So part 2 extends part 1 by creating both large and small dots as demonstrated on how to use by using global variables. What we want to do is we want to take our original Paint Pot project and save it as Paint Pot v2 with no spaces. That way we will see that we won't lose our original Paint Pot. So let's go back in here. So we have our project. I'm going to go to my project, save project as, and then at the very end, instead of saying copy v2, I believe that's what they wanted you to read it as, and that's, so we will hit OK. So we now will have two projects at this point in time that are identical, and we're going to be manipulating our version 2 project. Okay, so we have that done. Creating variables is very powerful in computer science. It allows us to manipulate many lines of code only by assigning a new value to a variable. So they're powerful, and we're going to demonstrate how to use that today. So what we need to do is we're going to create some variables. We're going to create, I believe, 3 variables. We're going to create a variable for dot size. We're going to create a variable for a small dot, and we're going to create a variable for a big dot. So you'll have 3 variables, and what we're working here to do is to set the value of your dot size, not hard coding it with like a 2 or a 5. However, we were trying to be able to jump between these simply by changing the value of dot size based upon our variable being used to initialize our dot size variable. So let me break that down a little bit. So initially, we're going to have a dot size. We're going to set it to 2. And, well, no, let's say our dot size starts at 5. And when we hit small dot, it's going to run it to 2. And when we hit a big dot, it's going to change the value to 8. And for that to be done, it's not too much work here. What we need to do is we need to initialize those 3 variables, and then we need to link them together a little bit. So let's start here with, we need to get our variables out. We need a small, a big, and a dot size variable. So going into our program here, under the blocks, under variables, we will need to initialize several variables here. I think I'm going to put them up at the top. So we have dot size, we have small dot, and we have big dot. Small dot, we're going to set it to 2. Big dot, we're going to set it to 8. And we're going to start off with our normal dot size being 5 from our previous one here. Was a 5. Okay, so we have our variables initialized. We need to start utilizing them now. So we're going to do an event handler. We need to have some more buttons added as well into our user interface. So next to our white button, we're going to put a big dots, small dots. And then the way that we're going to handle those is we're going to reevaluate or reassign the value of dot size to the global big, which will be 8. And then when we hit the small button, we're going to set dot size to global small, which will be 2. So we need to get into here. We need to go to our designer. We need to drag in 2 more blocks down here next to white. Now, they are starting to go horizontally here, where I would like to see, based upon this, it looks like we have a horizontal arrangement. So they have that called bottom buttons. I'm going to do that here before we add any more. So layout, we're going to do a horizontal arrangement. And we're going to drag these into this horizontal arrangement. We're going to rename it bottom buttons. And its width is going to be automatic. That's fine. We need to add one more button into this. Okay, so this one here, we want it to be big dots, second one being small dots. Big dots. And we want to rename the text on the button to big dots, and the text on the one that says small dots to okay. Check to see our user interface looks like that. Good. Two horizontal arrangements. Good. Perfect. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're going to tie in the event that happens when the person hits big dots and when they hit small dots. So it looks like this. This is the event, and this is how it is handled. We're going to set dot size to big in the case that they hit the big button, and vice versa. So in our dot handler, our blocks, when the big button is clicked, let's keep it here. Big button is clicked. We're going to set global dot size to get our big dot variable. So when we do this, global dot size is going to be set to big dot. So now global dot size will change from 5 to 8 should they hit the big dot button. And if they hit the small dot, we're going to do very similar things here. We're going to set dot size to get small dot. Now, we're almost ready to go, except for one piece is missing. I'm going to show you that through the emulator and why it's a very, very important piece here. Let's see if I can get this emulator just to refresh without coming up with a bunch of problems. Okay, my emulator is up and running, and we do have these new dots, big dots, small dots. So currently I have, okay, so this black dot here being set at the very beginning, not too happy with that, seeing as how we only have the availability of doing red, blue, and green. As soon as I select that, it has that option, but I think we need to go back into our designer on our canvas and set our default paint color to one of the options that is actually available. We don't have black available, so let's just say that we start off with red. That way nobody gets confused with a bunch of black dots. Okay, see, now we start off with red. Green does this. Now, if I hit big dots and I go in here, my dot size is the same. I hit small dots, dot size is the same. So what we have missing here is that when we are touching the canvas, we are still hard coding it in with this radius of 5. This will need to be changed to get the value of dot size that is being adjusted through these two methods. So I need to go in here and get dot size. So let's check the emulator. Big dots, they're a bit bigger. You can see small dots are a bit smaller. We still have our line feature as well. Check the white. Good. Go back in, look at our specs here. And it looks like we have completed our Paint Pot Part 2 project.